Most people get their paycheck, pay their bills, maybe grab some food, and then wonder where all the money went. And then they do it again next month, and the month after that. And somehow, years go by, and the number in their bank account looks exactly the same as it did back then. Here's what nobody talks about, though. The 1% aren't just earning more, they're doing something fundamentally different with every single dollar that comes in. And once you understand what that actually looks like, everything shifts. My name is Ricky. 3 years ago, I was making $45,000 a year and had $200 in my savings account. Not because I was reckless, just because nobody ever taught me how this actually worked. Now I've built a system that changed that completely. If you earn decent money but still feel stuck, you're in exactly the right place. Look, here's the situation most people are actually in. You're not broke, like you have money coming in. Maybe it's $3,000 a month, maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's more than that. But at the end of the month, somehow it's just gone. And the frustrating part is you can't even fully explain where it went. There was rent, obviously. Car payment, sure. Groceries, a couple of dinners out, a subscription you forgot you were still paying for, some random stuff on Amazon, and then, yeah, that's it. That's the whole paycheck. And here's the thing that stings the most. You're working hard. You're showing up every single day. You're not doing anything crazy irresponsible, but the savings account just isn't moving. Maybe you've tried budgeting before. You downloaded the app, you made the spreadsheet, it lasted about 2 weeks, and then life happened. And now, deep down, there's this quiet fear starting to build. Not a panic, just this low-level anxiety that says, I'm not getting ahead, and I don't totally understand why. According to a 2023 Federal Reserve report, roughly 37% of Americans say they couldn't cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing money or selling something. That's not people who are unemployed. That's working people, people with jobs and paychecks and responsibilities. So if you feel like you're on a treadmill, earning money, earning money, spending money, you're not alone, not even close. But here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. This isn't a discipline problem. This isn't a you just need to stop buying coffee problem. This is a system problem, and that means it has a system solution. Okay, so here's where I need you to challenge something you've probably believed your entire life. Most of us were taught, either directly or just by watching the adults around us, that the way you build wealth is by earning more money. Get a raise, get a better job, work more hours, hustle harder, and eventually the money thing figures itself out. Here's the problem with that. A study from Fidelity found that the majority of millionaires in America did not inherit their wealth. They built it. And a huge portion of them, we're talking over 80%, never had a household income above $100,000 a year at their peak earning years. Let that sit for a second. The majority of self-made millionaires never made six figures. So what did they do differently? They changed the order of operations. Here's what most people do, and I want you to be honest with yourself about whether this is you. You earn money, you spend money on everything you need and want, and then if there's anything left over at the end of the month, which usually isn't, you save that. Earn, spend, maybe save. The 1% flip that completely. They earn money, they save and invest a predetermined percentage first before anything else gets touched, and then they live on what remains. Earn, save first, spend what's left. Same income, completely different outcome over time. Now, you might be thinking, Ricky, that sounds great, but I literally don't have anything left to save. My expenses eat everything. And I hear that, I genuinely do. But here's what most people don't realize. Your expenses have a way of expanding to fill exactly whatever you give them. Lifestyle inflation is real, and it's quiet. Every time income goes up a little, spending tends to go up right alongside it. The psychological shift isn't about having more money. It's about deciding in advance what money is for. The 1% aren't just better savers. They think about money as a tool with a specific job to do, and every dollar that comes in gets assigned a role before it gets a chance to disappear. That one shift changes everything. So let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice, because concepts are great, but real people make it real. Meet Sarah, $4,000 a month take home. Average job. Nothing special about her situation, but on her first payday, she did one thing. She logged into her bank account and set up a single automatic transfer, $800 straight to a Vanguard index fund every month on payday. She didn't think about it after that. She didn't debate it. She didn't log in and check it every week. It just moved before she ever had a chance to spend it. Same Netflix subscription, same grocery runs, same life. She just never saw that $800. 20 years later, that one invisible move turned into roughly $400,000. That's the 50-30-20 framework in action. 50% to take home to needs, housing, utilities, transport. 30% to lifestyle. 20%, in Sarah's case, $800 a month, automatically invested before anything else gets touched. The math isn't the hard part. The hard part is that most people set this up as a manual decision every month, and manual decisions get skipped. They get pushed. They get justified away when something comes up. The system only works when it's automatic. Set it up once, let it run. That's the whole move. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and where most people quietly lose ground without ever realizing it. Let's say you have $10,000 sitting in a regular savings account earning 0.5% interest. Pretty standard. After 1 year, you've made $50. 50. Meanwhile, inflation ran at around 3.5% this past year. That means your $10,000 just lost $350 in purchasing power. You didn't spend anything. You didn't do anything wrong. You just lost $300 by playing it safe. Now, take that same $10,000 and put it in a diversified S&P 500 index fund. Historically, those have returned around 7% annually over the long run. That's $700 in the same year. Same money, different account, $1,400 in different outcome. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between your money working for you or quietly shrinking every single year. The cause and effect here is simple. Saving without investing equals a slow loss to inflation. Investing consistently over time equals compounding returns that grow whether you're working or sleeping. The 1% aren't doing anything exotic. They're not day trading or timing markets. They're just making sure their money is parked somewhere it can actually grow. And they started before they felt ready.
Let me tell you about two people. Same age, same job. Same starting salary of $50,000 a year. Marcus and Jordan. Marcus gets his paycheck every 2 weeks, pays his rent, handles his bills, covers his car note, and kind of freestyles the rest. He's not reckless. He's just living. Some months he saves a little, some months nothing. He tells himself he'll get serious once he earns more. Jordan does one different thing. On the first of every month, $500 automatically moves from his checking account into an S&P 500 index fund. He never decides whether to do it. It just happens. Then he lives on whatever's left. Fast forward 30 years. Marcus, saving an average of $150 a month in a basic savings account, he's got around $54,000. Not nothing, but not a retirement. Jordan's $500 a month at a 7% average annual return, roughly $567,000. Same career, same starting salary, $500,000 difference. Now, here's the part of Marcus's story that nobody talks about. Year 15, his car breaks down, $1,200 repair, no emergency fund, credit card at 22% interest. He carries that balance for 8 months. That $1,200 repair costs him $1,500 by the time it's paid off, and it sets him back 6 months on the little savings progress he had made. Jordan had $5,000 sitting untouched in a separate account for exactly this reason. Fixed the car, moved on, didn't even blink. That emergency fund isn't glamorous. It doesn't earn great returns, but it means you never have to go backwards. And going backwards, even once, costs more than most people realize. Same income, completely different story. Okay, I need to stop here for a second because I want to say something that most financial content will never say to you. The reason you're struggling with money isn't because you're bad with money. It's because you are fighting against a system that was specifically designed to separate you from your dollars as fast as possible. Think about it. Every app on your phone has a team of behavioral scientists whose entire job is to make it easier for you to spend money without feeling it. One-click purchase, saved payment info, buy now, pay later, auto renew. These aren't conveniences, they're friction removers. And the friction they're removing was the thing that used to make you pause and think, do I actually need this? In 2022, Americans spent an estimated $430 billion on impulse purchases. Not planned purchases, impulse. That's money people didn't intend to spend, and yet they spent it anyway. And here's what most people don't realize. The wealthiest people in the country own shares in the companies making money off those impulse buys. They're not the consumers in this equation. They're on the other side of the transaction. So when I say manage your money like the 1%, I don't just mean save more and invest in index funds, although yes, do that. I mean change your relationship with consumption itself. This is where it gets really interesting. Wealthy people tend to delay gratification not because they have more discipline than you. It's because they've built systems that create distance between the impulse and the purchase. Unsubscribe from marketing emails, removed saved payment info from websites, institute a 48-hour rule before any non-essential purchase over $50. Not because you can't afford it, but because you want to decide intentionally, not reactively. That one behavioral shift, adding just a tiny bit of friction back into your spending, can save the average person thousands of dollars a year without them even feeling it. Here's the truth about wealth that almost nobody talks about. It's boring. And I mean that as a compliment. You know what's exciting? Buying meme stocks at 2 a.m., chasing the hot crypto tip your cousin texted you. You know what's actually rich? Boring index funds you set up once and forget about for 30 years. Exciting is fun for a weekend. Boring is a paid-off house. The people who build real financial security aren't doing exotic things. They automate savings, they invest in diversified low-cost funds, they stay out of unnecessary debt, and they let time do the heavy lifting. Compound interest only works if you give it enough time, and the only way to give it enough time is to start now. Not when you earn more, not when things settle down, not after the holidays. Now. The mindset shift that separates the 1% from everyone else isn't intelligence, it isn't income, it's a longer time horizon. They're thinking in decades. Most people are thinking in months. When you zoom out that far, small, boring, consistent actions don't just matter, they become everything. All right, let's keep this simple. 3 things. Remember these. First, pay yourself first. Before the bills, before the lifestyle, before anything. Set up an automatic transfer on payday and make saving a non-negotiable. Not a decision, a system. Second, make your money work. Money sitting in a savings account is slowly losing ground to inflation. Put it somewhere it can grow. A Roth IRA, an index fund, a 401k. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to start. Third, add friction to your spending. Remove saved card info. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Give yourself 48 hours before any non-essential purchase over $50. The companies taking your money are using behavioral science. Use a little of it back. That's it. 3 moves. 1 this week. Remember that paycheck treadmill from the beginning of this video? Earn, spend, wonder where it went. Repeat. You just stepped off it. Not because money will never be stressful again, not because everything is solved, but because you see the game now. You understand what's actually happening, and once you see it, you genuinely cannot unsee it. 1 move this week. Pick 1 thing from this video and do it before Friday. If this helped you, hit that thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this. And subscribe if you want to go deeper on any of this. We cover budgeting, investing, debt, all of it. I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.